You're listening to All of It on WNYC. I'm Allison Stewart. In a new cookbook, the reader can consider themselves well-educated about spices, where they come from and what to do with them. It's titled The Diaspora Spice Company Cookbook, Seasonal Home Cooking from South Asia's Best Spice Farms. It comes out on Tuesday, March 3rd. To share some more spice facts, recipes, and cooking's do's and don'ts are the co-authors. Sana Javeri Kadri is the founder of Diaspora Spice Company. Sarah, welcome.
Thank you.
Sana. And Asha Lupi is a food writer and recipe developer. Hi, Asha.
Hi.
We wanted to tell people that there is a talk on Thursday at Books Are Magic at 122 Montague Street in Brooklyn at 7 p.m. So put that on your calendar. So, Sana, you founded Diaspora Spice Company back in August 2017.
I was 23 years old.
Wow, good on you. You wrote to disrupt the industry with culture, equity, and joy. That's a really good
I was brimming with idealism.
So what have you accomplished almost 9 years later? If you had to look back and say, what have I accomplished with this project? What is it?
I mean, we have paid over $3 million directly to 140 regenerative farmers across India and Sri Lanka.
Nice.
That's a big number. Yeah. And the average income for a South Asian farmer is about $2,000 a year. We pay our farmers on average $26,000 a year.
Wow.
So, it's a casual 16x the commodity or like what they would usually get.
So why did you decide to put out a cookbook now?
I think really it was about the culture, right? It was saying that the people who have been putting out recipes and information about spices have, for the past 500 years, been the colonizers. And I really thought that it was time that the people who grow these ingredients and who have been growing these ingredients for generations, sometimes thousands of years, they should share what they do with it. So I want you to leave this book knowing what a pepper farmer who grows pepper in the hills of Kerala to where it is indigenous, what do him and his family cook with it? And the answer is very delicious food.
Asha, why do you think spices, why are they underappreciated by some people? I just throw this in and that in and that's it. And that's it. Right?
I mean, really, I think spices are underappreciated because people are using old spices. Like spices that have been sitting on the grocery shelf for years and years and then sitting in someone's pantry for years and years. And so what people are tasting is dusty and not as potent as the spices that we're getting from these amazing farmers, and kind of cutting out those middle people and making sure that the spices are getting to people when they have those high oil contents that are making them as flavorful as possible.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's interesting from the book. On your do's and don'ts, you say make sure your spices are fresh, but you also said that fat and heat unlock the flavor, Sana?
Yeah.
What kind of fats are we talking about?
I mean, I feel like in my home kitchen, I'm using everything from olive oil to ghee to cold-pressed sesame oil to toasted sesame oil, right? So it's really saying, think of the spice as something that needs to wake up, and you need to kind of shake it up. And the way you wake it up is with heat and oil. And I say this over and over that when it comes to spices, fat is flavor. So the way that you taste it on your palate is you're tasting the volatile oil compounds. And so if you use heat to wake up those volatile oil compounds, they'll infuse into whichever oil you have in your pantry. It doesn't have to be, a South Asian only oil. Like we're both Northern California olive oil girlies, and our food is flavorful and delicious.
Asha, can you talk a little bit about how to properly layer spices to get the most out of them?
Yeah. So, when we were in India, it was really amazing how all of the women would layer spices throughout a dish. Sometimes adding things 4 or 5 times. For the book, we kind of had to pare that down because asking an American cook to do that is going to probably seem intimidating, and South Asian cooking is intimidating to a lot of entry-level cooks, which we wanted to make it as friendly and accessible as possible. So it really starts with layering the first layer of spice where you're blooming the spices in a fat like butter, ghee, olive oil, untoasted sesame oil, coconut oil. And then, you're going to get that spice that's layered through the dish as it cooks. But then a lot of dishes are finished with spices that are, again, bloomed in a fat and poured over. And so you get a different layer of flavor that is brighter, and you're just getting kind of everything that spice is from the start to the beginning or the end.
We are talking about a new book which spotlights farms across South Asia and their spices. Its co-authors are Sana Javari Kadri. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yay. And Asha Lupe. Did I get that correct?
Asha Lupi.
Thank you so much, Asha Lupi. They are joining us to discuss their new cookbook, the Diaspora Spice Company Cookbook, Seasonal Home Cooking from South Asia's Best Spice Farms. The harvest season must mean so much to you.
I just got back.
Oh, tell us more.
I mean, I would say that the highlight of my life for the past 9 years is that from January through March, I get to visit South Asia's best regenerative farms. And, you know, that's really how this book came about, is I was sitting in their homes eating like this gorgeous seasonal farm to table food, and just being like, wait, we need to share this with the world. Like, they don't know. Let's tell them. But the magic of harvest season is that it's so different every year, and it's so different region to region, right? Like, I could be on a cardamom farm, which is like a rainforest in the hills of Kerala, where it's like humid and green and lush. And the next minute I'm in the like, dry, dusty hills of Manipur, which is on the Indian-Burmese border. And it'll like, it'll be pretty brown. But both are like still the season of abundance and the season of harvest. So yeah, I just feel like this journey of like visiting these farms over the past 9 years has been one of learning just how much nuance and variation exists across these two countries of India and Sri Lanka.
Asha, there are so many recipes in this cookbook. How did you decide which ones to select?
Well, it was a harrowing process.
It was hard.
It was. We learned, I think, over 170 recipes over almost 4 months of travel. And to narrow that down to the 85 recipes that ended up in the book was, we had to let a lot of recipes that we loved go. But what was left is such a good representation of everywhere that we traveled. And I, halfway through our traveling, made a list of all of the vegetables that I could get my hands on in the United States, and then kind of would look at that and say, oh, we need an okra recipe. And then this farmer seems like a good farmer to learn that from. And so there was a bit of culling throughout the process of travel to get to the final recipe list when we started developing.
Okay, Sana, I want to talk about this one recipe. It's for Sri Lankan fish puffs, which was
love
inspired by a restaurant chain that's been around since 1902.
Yeah.
What are some of their signature dishes, and why did you pick the fish puffs?
I mean, I think I've been going to this bakery. It's a very like classic but regular bakery. It's nothing fancy, but it's what a lot of the country relies on across Sri Lanka. And the two bakes that I love the most there are a sini sambal puff, which is sini sambal is like a caramelized onion chutney, and then there was a fish puff. And basically, Sri Lanka's an island, which means they have really good tuna. And so their fish puff is like a tuna and potato spiced mixture with flaky pastry around it. And I think the genius of the recipe is that Asha was able to use like frozen puff pastry. So it's been something that now I can whip up for my kids whenever, because I have puff pastry in my freezer. I have the potato tuna mixture, which is made with canned tuna, also in my freezer. So on like a moment's notice, I'm busting them out, defrosting some puff pastry. And, you have a very like elaborate, sexy dish with very little effort.
Asha, I have to point this out, though. The recipe calls for 24 fresh curry leaves. For someone who thought, like, that's a lot of curry leaves. Why do you need so many curry leaves?
In my mind, you can never have too many curry leaves. It's like, when people say measure your heart or measure garlic with your heart, I measure curry leaves with my heart, for sure. But the curry leaves, it's hard to describe their flavor. They're earthy and floral, and they just add this kind of je ne sais quoi to whatever you're adding them to. And, when you start blooming them in oil, anyone who is near you will know that you're cooking curry leaves. And it really does add this layer of like beautiful earthy floral flavor that goes well with the burst tomatoes and the potatoes and the tuna in that.
If someone is cooking with curry leaves for the very first time, what advice would you give them?
Stand back.
Yeah, stand back. Step back from the pan.
Sana says, stand back. Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because, they have a pretty high water content. So when you put them in hot oil, because they're a leaf, they're a fresh leaf, they'll start to sputter, and they can sputter quite angrily. So they are delicious and they're worth the effort, but they are angry to start.
Asha, you created a recipe for country curry chicken.
This recipe was a fight, I'm just going to say.
It was.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about
Yeah.
that. All right, tell me your side of the story.
My side of the story is that every cookbook needs a chicken recipe, and Sana does not like chicken.
Okay, Asha says yes to chicken. Sana says no.
And we tasted so many delicious, beautiful country chicken curries in every single region that we went to. So it was hard to say, like, this is the be-all, end-all of country chicken curry. So we, like a family does, came up with our own country chicken curry. And I took different techniques that I learned from multiple families and built it into the Diaspora Spice Co. country chicken curry. So it is my favorite chicken dish.
I would
for
also say
sure.
she won the duel because, I ate it all, you know?
True.
Okay.
I
She was
loved
even
it.
second.
It was iconic.
Well, so you get to pick the last recipe. Pick one from the book that you think is really spectacular that you want people to know about Sana.
I think it's one of Asha's greatest hits. It's the dud al dip, which is a pumpkin dip. And basically in Kashmir, they make this traditional autumnal chutney, which is pumpkin, yogurt, and walnuts. And we zhuzhed it up with like a sizzled chili oil, spiced oil on top. I've made it maybe 5 times in the past 6 months. I just can't stop. And it's so party ready and sexy and seasonal. It's excellent.
The book is titled The Diaspora Spice Company Cookbook, Seasonal Home Cooking from South Asia's Best Spice Farms. I've been speaking with its co-author, Sana Javeri Kadri and Asha Lupi. Reminder, they have a book event at Books Are Magic next Thursday on Montague Street in Brooklyn. It starts at 7 p.m. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.